Olight is having its first sale of 2024, and they're releasing a bunch of different products, and these are two of them. So we're going to do a very quick video describing what these are, what their costs are, and whether you should consider it. Let's go ahead and get started. Now the first item we're going to talk about is more of a novelty. We have a Balisong pry tool. It has both a prying edge, but also an edge on here to open packages primarily, like you just saw on this mat. And it also has a universal style wrench, a bottle opener, and an oxygen wrench as well. Now the thing with this, oh yeah, and I forgot the glass breaker. Now this is primarily, let's be real, it's a fidget toy that has like something potentially useful that you can use. And I have to say, I think that this is actually going to be quite strong. You're more likely to snap the actual pry tool than break it at the pivot from what I can tell on the construction. So that's pretty nice as far as strength is concerned. The only issue I have with this thing is that I don't know how much I want to spend on novelty items. Some people really enjoy these types of items that are both functional and fun to play with, like the Balisong pen and all of this other stuff. So if you are one of those people, you might actually enjoy this quite a bit. And at least it's much more useful than the fork that they had in their last sale, basically. So I like the concept. I just don't know if I want to spend near $70 on this product. It's up to you how you feel, but I would recommend getting it at the sale price because the full price is definitely not something that I would consider on any tool like this. That's just me personally. I don't have much more to say with this. It's actually going to work pretty well as an actual prying tool. I like that it fits in your fifth pocket in this form, and it also has a magnetic closure, so you can shake it open. It's not super strong, but it's strong enough that it's just not going to flop around. So they've done a pretty good job with it. It's really up to you if this is something that you're interested in. I just thought we'd give it a show and see what it's all about. And honestly, they executed it very well. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Now, unlike the last item, this is definitely appropriately priced. S35 VN blade steel, PEI or Ultim handles on this one. It is a crossbar style lock on bearings, incredibly smooth. There is no side to side or up and down play. Mine came perfectly centered. And yeah, I mean, it's a good knife, but I'm not surprised. I mean, it's being OEM'd by Kaiser after all, and they do a very, very good job. Now, my favorite knife that they ever made was actually the Rubato 2. And I really liked both the handle, the blade shape. I liked a lot of things about this knife. This one, the Rubato 4, is not dissimilar in overall size, but there are some differences. So the first thing I want to note is actually the emblem. They finally got rid of that gaudy, awful looking thing that they put on the knife itself, and now it is on the pocket clip. So thank you for taking that off. It looks so much nicer, so much cleaner. It is the way it should be. So that's thumbs up. Now, they've also made a nice improvement on the spring tension. I don't know if they changed out the springs or what, but compared to the Rubato 2, which is very light on spring tension, it's very, very nice on the Rubato 4. So good job. Very sharp out of the box, great sharpening choil, but there's one issue. There's one issue that you need to be made aware of when it comes to the Rubato 4. And that, well, we're going to consult the manual real quick. When you look at the image here, it'll tell you the blade length, and the blade length is 77.3 millimeters or 3.04 inches. I don't know how many times I'm going to have to say this. If you are a maker or a designer, and you design your knife to be between 3 inches and 3 1/4, you're probably hurting yourself because there are plenty of areas, both in the US and outside the US, that do not allow any knife over 3 inches. You're just cutting your market for no reason whatsoever. And I'm not saying shorten the handle. I'm not saying do any of that. Just make a slightly shorter blade so that you can stay within those 3-inch knife laws. The Rubato 2 does exactly that and even has a bigger handle than the Rubato 4. I have to say I like the handle on the Rubato 2 a little bit better than this one. But, you know, the other things, like I said, are better. But the fact that this knife is legal in places that this is not, it seems silly to do all this work to make such a good knife, and yet you miss basic things like knife legality. In the age where we're dropping, you're seeing companies release knives on a monthly basis, you can't afford to miss anything at this point to differentiate yourself with other companies, because there's just too many options available to someone to pick in any given price range. So that's really the only downside that I see with the Rubato 4 is actually going to end up being that blade length. If it doesn't bother you, I think it's a great knife. It's very comfortable in hand. It's good in multiple grips. Yeah, it's a really nice little knife. I like my knives a little bit bigger than this one. And I do like crossbars. Here's an example of one of my most carried crossbar lock knives. I like it, like I said, I like it a little bit bigger, but at least I know that this is kissing up to that 3.5 inch mark. And both of these knives, and this is why I brought it in, technically fall under the same legality. Which one would you rather have from a functional standpoint? Of course, you'd want to have the bigger blade, right? You'd want to have the bigger blade if they're going to end up being legally equivalent. I just feel like that was a missed opportunity. Otherwise, though, the Rubato 4 is gorgeous. The S35 VN is a really nice upgrade over 154 CM, and $90 is a really reasonable price. That's a reasonable price for what you're getting in materials. That's pretty much all I have to say. I mean, pretty good job. Small miss on the blade length, but otherwise, really good. That's it for today. Thank you guys again for your time, and we'll talk again soon.